guys, welcome to the first episode of the Lorri Love Show. I have Malcom Garret here as my first interviewee, my first guest.
Yes.
I have Malcom Garret here as my first guest. What an honor. Malcom is a creative genius to me because he just reinvents himself all the time. Like, I think I met Malcom through Giselle Energy. Shout out to her. She's at Coachella DJing right now. She did this poetry event and Malcom was there. And it's been a few years now. Malcom went from customizing sneakers to now customizing clothes, jerseys. Now you're doing photography. So there's a lot more that we're gonna talk about when it comes to Malcom because it's just endless dopeness, if you ask me. So yeah, say hello to Malcom, everyone.
Hi everyone. What's going on? What's the deal?
So this is the first episode, so really quick, I'm just gonna go over why I started it, and I definitely want to shout out my friend Juan, also known as Sauce, from Paterson, New Jersey. He makes beats, so the intro music, that beat was made by him. He has beats for purchase on liveforbeats.net, so that's LIVE, the number 4 beats.net. Hip hop, R&B, so many dope beats, hundreds of them for you to choose from. You can definitely hit him up on Instagram too. I'll have all that information on the description below and on my website on LorriLove.com too. So that's cool. Definitely thank you for that. So the purpose of the show is to basically just explore all that encompasses being human, from health, building wealth, financial independence, overcoming obstacles, believing in your dreams, and really just sharing stories from people who I have met along the road. You know, I've been doing poetry for a long time. I started sharing it like 3 years ago, and I've met a lot of really cool people who have accomplished a lot just from being creative and believing in themselves through that route. And I think it's really cool to just talk and share experiences with others who have had the courage to just believe in themselves. So the end goal of the show is hopefully in 2 years I can start a nonprofit organization that will help the youth, so that other kids who have a dream will feel empowered to follow it. I know that when I was growing up, I lived in like a low-income household, and you know, I couldn't afford like just the basic things like going on school trips or like doing after school programs or just like transportation to and from after school programs. So like I feel like my life goal is to help other kids. So that's definitely what I want to accomplish by doing this show, is just to raise a community where I have enough of a viewing that I can build that wealth to start that organization. So definitely feel free to support me and share this video with your friends, your family. So yeah, that's the goal of the show. So let's get into it. Malcom, how are you today?
Good. I want to show you something.
What's this?
It's non-slip booties for your feet, for your socks.
Oh, I was telling Malcom my socks were falling off when the show was starting. My socks keep slipping off my foot. They're too small. Yeah. So how did you get into customizing sneakers? Let's talk about that.
I woke up one day and I was just like, let me try this. And I don't know why. I think it was.
Were you into art? Were you painting?
Yeah,
Were you like doing like portraits or
no?
Not really.
I was into art as a kid. I was always into shoes, fashion, whatever. But this one particular day, I just woke up, like I just popped out of bed and was like, yo, let me infuse it. And I did. I did. Is this PG?
No, you can say whatever you want.
I'm not gonna be crazy with it, but
yeah,
I just woke up like, fuck it, like let me try it. And I messed up a whole bunch of my shoes, just trying, practicing. You know, a lot of people, fear is that first step,
right?
Like
the
I don't
failure.
I don't have an issue
enough
with that,
yeah,
at all. Like you said, I reinvent myself all the time, and that's because I have no fear of trying it. I spent tons of money trying stuff.
Yeah, I
made
think
a
that
profit here
investing in
and
yourself
didn't.
is a big thing.
Yeah, I made profits and I haven't made profits. Like that's what it is, you know. So that's how I started. I just woke up.
How
one
many
day,
years
like,
has it been? It's been like 5 years now, right? Or
I
was
would
it been
say-
longer than that?
Yeah, like 5.
Yeah.
2014.
And you, I feel like you've done like hundreds of sneakers now.
Yeah, I've done a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know the count.
Yeah, we're gonna put up some of the sneakers that Malcolm's done here. His latest one really blew my mind. It was the Nipsey Hussle tribute sneaker. It was like a Puma.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys have a lot in common too.
Me and Puma?
No,
Oh.
you and Nipsey in general, because he was very aware of just overall like being like solid within. Like he had a lot of like spiritual knowledge as far as like, you know, having peace within yourself and doing things for others, and also believing in yourself and sharing your knowledge with others, which is what you do on your story, on your platform. Like you have a huge platform now, and I feel like you're always sharing knowledge as far as being healthy, eating healthy, things like that. And RIP to Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah. Yeah, bad, horrible situation.
Dropbox?
But it starts within. I mean, if you don't know who you are, you're not gonna know what you want, you know.
Yeah, I think if you don't know who you are and you don't take the time to reflect, also, you're always going to allow others or situations to define you. So I think when you know who you are, you can go through an obstacle and you can be like, doesn't define me because I know what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
Too.
True. Yeah. I spent years, man, alone, and it was by choice. And it wasn't like depression alone. It was like, yo, I just need to get away from everybody. I'm a loner. Like, I'm really a loner. Like, I like being alone. I'll go places alone. I'll do things alone. I used to go out by myself, like, because I didn't want nobody controlling what time I left, what time I got there, what time I wanted to leave. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, I like to be in control of my own destiny. And that's just how I am. Like, I just like full control, and I know who I am and what I want. But I'm not a control freak. You know, I'm not the person that's like for instance, we did your photo shoot, you had your ideas and we rocked with it. Mm-hmm. Now, you know, if I was like a control, we're gonna do it my way. Right. But I'm not like that. So I'm just a easy person to work with.
Oh yeah, Malcolm also did the photos for the photo shoot, the one I just shared. So that was great. You definitely had a lot of good feedback during the shoot, and just like creative direction, which is awesome. I feel like somebody who maybe wants to become a model, or somebody who wants to do a photo shoot and never has before, I feel like you're a great like starting person for them, because the way you coached me throughout it was like, I was very nervous, and I usually don't like smiling in pictures. And it was like, you basically brought that out of me, which is, I've done other photo shoots which were also great, but I feel like you're good with just like creating the vibe for, like, you were like, okay, this should be a happy scene, this should be this and that, and like you had the vision, and you were able to express the vision and communicate it. And I think that's why we were able to get that done, because I'm like so camera shy like right now.
A lot of people are. I mean, there's a few that have it. Like, there's a few that I could just work with and I don't have to tell them nothing. It's just point and click. And it's not to say telling somebody what to do is a bad thing. You know, like, some people just need the guidance in certain things. Like, I'm sure like you really don't need too much guidance on like your poetry or what you're doing right now. You look for more knowledge and stuff, but you know what you're doing,
right?
You know what I'm saying? But photo wise, you might be like, oh, freeze up, like, in front
and
of
you've
the
been
camera.
doing it for a long time too, from photographing your own stuff and
my
other
own stuff,
people and yourself.
Exactly. So
self portraits.
And I look at a lot of magazines. I'm on Pinterest all day. I'm on all these photo blogs. I'm just looking at things, seeing how things are. I even sent you like a guide how to pose and stuff, right? Yeah. So I do stuff like that because it'll just make everything easier. You know what I mean? And for a long time, a month ago, so I really sat down, like I was meditating, and I'm like, yo, like I'm a visionary.
Yeah.
Like I'm humble. So I like it took a lot for me to be like, yo, I'm nice. Like
Yeah.
I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
And that's not, I'm not saying it in a way like, yo, nobody can't F with me, but I'm good.
Yeah, no,
you know?
you're consistent too.
Yeah.
You don't stop.
I'm always on my
Yeah, so, which is why
stuff.
you keep improving too.
Yeah.
Because like they say, practice makes perfect.
Of
You
course.
know, so you keep, and every time you probably get better techniques, and you
Yeah.
just get better with the brush probably when you're doing the sneakers,
Yeah.
things like that. So how'd you transition from customizing sneakers to, I think, was it Mitchell and Ness, or what was it that you did? You did a collaboration, you did a jersey, or was it Alexander Nash? I think it was.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, about the transition into clothing too. I think that's really cool.
I've always been into that. Like that's, out of high school I was gonna go to FIT. In high school I designed the varsity jackets
Okay.
for the team.
Okay.
And I remember I played basketball. We won the championship. I was in class like the next day. No, that one day. And I was drawing the jacket. I'm like, this is what the jacket. And I gave it to my coach. And it got made. I have, I still have it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going to go to FIT. And in high school, I had my own art teacher. Like I was here in the library. Everybody else was in an art class. There was a few kids like that. But I was one of them. And even in grade school, gifted and talented class, I got a certificate from Mayor Pascal, Bill Pascal. And I just was always into, like, I used to draw figures with clothes on, jeans, jerseys, with the braids, like everything, headbands. So as I got, like, when I didn't get accepted to FIT because of my SAT scores, I got into retail. So I started selling clothes, working at Against All Odds. And I got hired there because I would get my check. I worked at ShopRite. I would get my check. And I would go spend all my money in Against All Odds. And the manager was like, yo, you fly, bro. Like, you always spending money here. Like, you want a job? I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, when you want to do an interview, like, next week or whatever? I came. I sat down with him. He was like, yo, do you mind cleaning bathrooms? I was like, nah. He's like, all right, when you want to start? That was the interview. Like, he was like, yo, you mind cleaning? I was like, nah. He's like, all right, when you want to start? And that next week, I got my check from ShopRite. I went on lunch. I never came back.
From Shop, you never went back to
Never
ShopRite?
went back. I'm that type.
I've done those before.
I'm that type.
Like, this isn't for me anymore. I'm out.
I'm out. Like, when I'm not feeling something, I'm out.
Yeah.
So I left, was working there, and then Foot Locker, and then boom, boom, boom. Then my boy opened a sneaker studio. He asked me to help him because he knew.
Passaic, right?
Yeah. He asked me to help him because at the time I was working at Nike. He was like, yo, I'm opening a store. Can you help me? Because I know that's your thing.
Yeah.
Cool. So I started helping him. Help turned into work. Work that turned into 11 years being there. And then I started buzzing with the sneakers. And then one day I got to work and I was like, I ain't feeling this no more. Like, I could do my own thing. I'll struggle, but fuck it. Like, I'll do my own thing. So then fast forward, I'm doing more shoes, boom, boom, boom. Then now Alexander Nash, that's my boy from when I used to work in Foot Locker. He used to be the manager. My boy Ernie. So I hit Ernie up. I'm like, yo, who handles your content on Instagram? He's like, oh, I do. I was like, look, I'm doing photography now. Let me take your pictures. He's like, all right, cool. Boom. So I started taking pictures for him. So now he had these shirts already made, like jerseys, like jersey shirts. He cut up the letters and whatever and added. So I was like, yo, I want to make one. I want to make my own. I don't want it like that. So that's when I was like, all right. I drew it up in my mind, like, this is how I want it. Boom, boom, boom. I want this here. And everything I do has an underlining meaning. So, boom, I made the football one, Randy Moss. So I was like, let's do corduroy, but let's flip it inside out. But we're going to take the corduroy and put it, like, hints of it on the shirt. And it was brown. And then the letters was purple and yellow. So I'm like, those colors are crazy together. And then since it's football, I went and got yard tape. And I was like, let's put it at the bottom because football is a game of inches with the yards. So I was like, let's put it on the bottom. Boom. I put it together and people went crazy.
Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So then I was like, yo, let's make an overall. He's like, all right, cool. How you gonna do it? I was like, all right, I want it to be, you know, round up here, straps. I want corduroy hints. I want, you know how they got the suit.
Yeah, the patches.
On the elbow. I was like, let's put that
Like
on the
with suede.
kneecap. Let's put that on the kneecap. Let's make half corduroy pockets, but like pencil pockets. And cuff at the bottom. I went into Mood Fabric, picked out the fabric that I wanted, and we put it together. And then we put 2 more together. And then now, you know, we did a baseball jersey. We did Derek Jeter, 2 Derek Jeters. So now we're trying to do 5 baseball jerseys and then hockey. So we're gonna try to present that to some people so we can get licensing deals, so we can produce more. And it's a process, but you know, even as a kid, I used to cut stuff up. You know, I would cut my jeans, and my mom would be like, "I bought. Why you cutting this?" You know, so I was just always into that. And the thing with Mitchell and Ness is basically, I've worn their jerseys my whole life, like since I was able to like buy it. And now, a couple months ago, I would just tag like all the jerseys I wore. I would tag them in it, and then one day, the guy hit me up. He was like, "Yo, I'm gonna send you some stuff." I was like, "Cool." So he sent the care package, and I was like, "Oh
That's
man,
awesome.
this is crazy."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yo, this can happen." So my thank you to him was, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get him. I said, what size you wear? I got him a shoe. I customized it for him. I was like, yo, I want to hand deliver these to you. I never been to the store anyway, so I was like, I'm gonna take a bus to Philly, come down there. So I went down there. He's like, yo, you got a minute to talk? I'm like, yeah, cool. Went upstairs to the back room or whatever, where nobody's allowed, and we kicked it. He was like, yo, let's do some type of influencer program, because he's like, I've been watching your page for a minute, and people really engage with how you dress and what you do.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, like, that's crazy, because I can remember the times when my mom used to be like, another jerk, 300, 250,
Right.
what, are you crazy?
Yeah.
And now it's like,
And now you're working together.
Yeah, I'm either getting it free or half off. And now we're working together, trying to plan, you know, events and stuff. Like, I even want to, he told me he has a bunch of stuff. I even want to like have him send me whatever, so around back to school time I could just do a giveaway for Paterson, like for the kids. And that would be crazy. Like, my goal honestly is to get a key to the city.
That'd be dope.
Yeah,
I can see it happening though.
because I had a
Definitely
goal.
see it happening.
I had a goal to teach a class, right?
I think I saw that you did that once, right?
Yeah.
You taught at a school. You were teaching them about customizing
Yeah,
sneakers.
customization. I put those thoughts in the universe. Like, I was like, you know what? I want to teach a class. So I got to teach a class. That turned into teach another class. That turned into, yo, teach the whole summer program. That turned into another opportunity where it was like, yo, we want you to teach this program, but the numbers didn't work out right, because I do have to get paid. Like, at the end of the day,
Right.
the travel, the supplies, all
The
that.
time.
Yeah, the time I got to get paid. The numbers just didn't match up.
And you're self-employed.
Yeah, so
So-
every dollar counts.
Yeah.
And
And it takes a lot of time too. You put a lot of time
Oh,
into your
yeah.
craft
A lot.
to get to the level that you are, and to have the knowledge that you have on what the do's and don'ts are of sneaker customizing, the products to use, what paints are better on certain materials. Like,
Yeah.
you had to go through trial and error, and I'm sure it took hundreds of hours for you to learn all those things.
I used to
So
break night.
you definitely would be teaching something that has value.
Yeah, I brought value to the situation, and it's unfortunate I couldn't do it, because the kids need stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, schools are so
Creative
whack.
expression.
School is whack.
Yeah.
Whoever gets offended, I'm sorry. I'm not telling nobody not to go to school or
Right,
not
right.
to pay attention, but school is whack.
Yeah, I mean, school, it teaches us discipline. It teaches us that we have to do things. Sometimes we have to do things we don't want to do to get where we want to be, because certain people do want jobs where you need a high school diploma, you need a college degree, and that's fulfilling to them. Like, you know, somebody who wants to be a school therapist or
Yeah.
something of that nature.
Well, yeah, that
You
in
know,
that sense,
but
yeah.
then for us, like people who are creative, like me, I always got straight A's, but it wasn't for me. Like, my family used to be like, oh, you have to be a radiologist, or you need to be a lawyer, or you need to be that, and I'm like, but I like poetry and art.
Yeah. Like, who says that?
I like writing books. Like, I want to write a book. I want to write a movie. I want to do this and that. And it's hard when you're creative, because people don't believe in your dreams and they don't believe in your skills until you are consistent for a long time and you prove that you can do it. You can make something happen with those talents. So
I had a 13-year-old tell me, and he blew my mind when he told me this. He was like, yo, school is boring. He was like, I don't think grades define how smart you are. Grades define how good your memory is.
yeah, that's true.
Basically saying, like, when you take a test and you pass it, it just means you memorize what you study.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that doesn't determine how smart you are.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I was like, damn, yo, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
you're 100% right. Like, I cannot argue that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
And there's kids who, I have friends who, like, growing up, they had, like, ADD. They could not concentrate in school, and they're doing just fine now. Like,
Yeah,
they
I think
own
they were bored.
businesses.
Yeah, they were bored.
You know, and I think that it's sad when somebody has a talent or a skill, or somebody is more of an entrepreneur or a forward thinker, and they're basically being told that they're not good enough because their grades aren't good. You know, some people get lost in that. They feel like losers. They feel like, what am I going to do with my life? You know, and they give up. So I think it's good for youth. Like, I think it would be great for you to do something for kids, like what you want to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think it's really important that people like us try to influence the youth and, you know, remind them that they can be creative and that there are other routes in life than just following, like, the normal route, or what is called the normal route, which is just like books and studying and having college debt and things like that.
yeah, it's the way America is set up. It's set up poorly. Like, you know, how is a person to go to college, take out these loans, 60 G's, and then get a job that doesn't pay them shit to help them pay those loans back?
Exactly.
You know, and a dude like me, I went to school for 1 year because people kept pressuring me. I went to school for 1 year, and when I went, I was bored. I smoked every day. I was high, and I just was like, yo, this ain't for me. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm fine. Like, I'm rich at heart. Like, that's all that matters. Like, I'm rich in the brain.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'll make my money. I'm gonna get, the bag's coming. I feel it. Like, something's gonna happen. Like, it's a feeling. It's undescribable. But I'm fine. I'm free as hell.
Yeah.
Like, I don't work on nobody's schedule but mine.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
And that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah. It's it, you know?
Yeah. And it
That's
takes believing in yourself, which
Yeah.
is one of the muscles that we have to, like, I feel like we have spiritual muscles that are more important than, like, physical muscles. I think they're both important. But I think, like, believing yourself is something that, like, the more you practice it, the more you feel it.
I think believing is a feeling.
Yeah.
It's not a thought. It's a feeling. Like,
Yeah.
when I knew I had power, like, a quick story. So I'm doing my thing. I get an email from this company. They're like, yo, we want you to test out this product. I'm like, whatever. I ignored it. Email me again. I'm like, whatever. I ignored it. I thought it was some type of, like, BS. I thought it was some, like, hey, we can boost your account for $50 a month. I'm like, I don't care. I boost my own account.
Right.
So then they text me. I'm like, damn, this shit must be really important. So I hit him back. I'm like, yeah, whatever. He's like, yo, we see you Instagram, you influencing, blah, blah, blah. We want you to test out this tablet, XYZ. It's a paid gig. So I'm like, all right, cool. $200, I take it, whatever. He's like, it's in the city, you gotta come shoot a commercial, but it'll be in-house. We just need to show that commercial to another company to show them how to use that tablet. So we want you to just show how you create your sneaker colors on whatever, what program to use. I'm like, Photoshop. Boom. He's like, yo, we're gonna buy the tablet, go pick it up, play with it, and then come Monday. He's like, oh yeah, the gig pays $2,500. I'm like, what? Yeah. And he's like, $2,500. We need you for like 8 hours, right? I go. They send me an Uber and everything. Black joint, the expensive joint. So I'm like, oh shit. So I'm sitting there like, yo.
You're like, okay,
I'm
my
like,
hard work is paying off.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. I hops in the Uber. I get to the city. I go upstairs. I do the commercial in 3 hours, so I didn't even take the whole hour. So I made $2,500 in 3 hours. Boom. I leave. So the lady's like, "Oh, thank you for coming. Enjoy the tablet." I'm like, "I left it." She's like, "No, keep it. It's yours." I'm like, "Damn!" And they gave me a tablet. So the moral of the story is, I worked hard enough to get myself to a point to where I was able to do that, and then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, "Yo, I like this feeling. Like I could do this more often. All I got to do is just keep pounding the pavement."
Right.
And that let me know, like, yo, I got power. Like I have the power to do this. And if I can do something like that twice a month, 2,500, 2,000, whatever, 1,500, I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Then the Mitchell and Ness thing kicked in. So now I'm like, oh, now I got more power. Now I got two people hit me up. One person's like, yo, I want you to do a custom for this movie I'm shooting for school project. Then somebody else is like, yo, I want you to be a creative director on set for a movie I'm doing for a series.
Oh, that's awesome.
A docu-series. And I'm like,
you're gonna make that shit fire.
So it's like, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I did it because I felt that, the belief, I felt it like, yo, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people say, yeah, I believe I could do it. Like, but you could tell they don't really believe they could do it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes I think it's a matter of really getting to know yourself, because you think, like, I used to want to be a rapper, you know?
I used to rap.
You know, and I did it because I grew up around, you know, growing up with my cousins, we all rapped and freestyled, and it wasn't until I actually tried and did it that I was like, wait, this isn't for me. And I think that's okay, too. I think it's okay to know when something is for you and when it's not for you.
Well, yeah.
And to keep trying different things until you figure out what is for you. Like, I was like, I'm a lot better at writing and poetry than I am at rapping. And I didn't feel like, oh, I'm a failure.
Yeah. I listened to a podcast called Success Talks. And one of the episodes, the guy was saying, a part of success is knowing when to walk away.
Yeah. So
basically, I used to rap. I used to do a lot of things that you might not know. A lot of people might. I used to do a lot of things. I used to rap. I sold cars. Like, I did master. I sold cologne on the streets. But I got to a point where I was rapping and I'm like, this isn't going nowhere. Let me reinvent.
Yeah.
Like, let me figure out what's next. Not saying that I couldn't do it, because I was nice. Like, I really was good. But I didn't love it enough. So I was like, you know what? Let me try something else. And I think the problem that some people have is they don't know when to walk away. Like,
right,
they don't
and
know
I
when
think
to
they
be
want
like,
to, and I think it's a matter of wanting to prove to others that they can do it too.
And that's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing.
Because you have to be able, like, you have to be able to accept your losses with pride. Like, everything isn't for you, and I think when we decide to try a new route, we always learn something on that new route too. Like, we either learn something about ourselves or about that specific topic or endeavor. And I think it's okay to also be a person of many hats and have many talents, because I think probably everything you've done has led to the point where you have that creative direction, where now you've seen so much that you can infuse that into being a creative director, teaching. And another thing I wanted to talk about is how, like, you use your platform to enlighten others as far as when it comes to, like, health and taking care of yourself. And you said something on your story the other day that, like, was like, I need to have Malcom on the first episode, because I agree with it, is like self-care. So there's, like, you know, everybody's like, oh, self-care is this and that. And you said it on your story. You're like, self-care is not buying yourself a new pair of shoes or going out or going on vacation. Yeah. You know, it is, like, actually doing the work, like meditating and feeding your body right. And
or even just fixing yourself.
Yeah, like recognizing your flaws. Not your flaws, but your weaknesses, and improving them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's self-love.
Where you waste time, realizing where you're wasting time. I think that your success so far is because you spent a lot of time on something that was useful. I don't think you spent a lot of time bullshitting out here. You were actually, like, in your house, like, working on your sneakers, like, working on your vision, like, trying new things and learning a lot and being consistent, so consistent with it that, and that's what I tell people all the time, is, like, the more you do things, the more recognition you're going to get, because sometimes we do things and we're like, oh, nobody noticed. And then like sometimes that makes people stop.
Yeah.
You know, and you just keep going and going and going, and it's like when people see how consistent you are, you're now embedded in people's minds. Like you're now like the source or the main idea or the main person that they think of when it, like to me, when I think of like sneaker customizers, I'm heavy into sneakers, but you know, I feel like what you do is very unique and different, and I think it's because you spend so much time on it. And I think that where I was going with this was that being right within yourself, like eating good food and like meditating and working on your flaws and working on your inner health, like being at peace with others and things like that. I think it helps you have a clearer mind so that you can apply more energy to the things that matter to you.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said is correct. Don't get me wrong, I get pissed off. You know, I get angry, frustrated. It might linger a day or two, but it's not like pure frustration. It's more like, I can't believe this fucking guy pissed me off like that. You know what I'm saying? Like yesterday, I was on a bus to Philly, and this guy, he looks back behind me. He's like, "Is that your phone going off?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you mind turning it off? Like turning the ringer off?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." But in my mind, I'm like, "Fuck do you think he is?" And then an hour later, he's on the phone loud. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, you shut up. But I didn't take it to the next level because there's no need for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we let things linger in us. It could be from 20 years ago. It's there. It's subconsciously is there, you know? And you don't know you're thinking about it, but let something trigger it and boom, there it is. You know what I'm saying? That's when you start to stress, and then your body starts to, you know, get inflamed with all this anger and stuff like that. You just need to let it go and get it out, and you know, just practice these meditation practices. It helps a lot. Like,
I agree.
It's not easy.
It's not easy,
but it helps.
Yeah, and I think the more you do it, the easier it gets. Some days it's I'm gonna start into like why I got into meditation. I went through like a lot of like traumatic things that we'll get into at some other point. But I had a lot of like traumatic things happen to me, and I felt like very overwhelmed. And so even if I tried to let it go, I felt anxiety all the time. Like I started feeling like what bad thing is gonna happen next?
Yeah, and that's the wrong way to think.
I was living in this like I need to do the most to make sure that nothing bad happens. And I had a lot of mental clutter, and I would have anxiety because I wanted to just be my best self, and I wanted to feel like nothing was going to get in the way of that. And we all have different reasons why we get anxiety. Sometimes just knowing that we're going to do a long drive and there's going to be traffic gives us anxiety. Or like, I think drinking coffee causes a lot of anxiety. I don't drink it that often anymore, and when I do drink it, I do feel anxious. When I don't, I feel fine. But I think we all suffer from anxiety to some degree, some of us more than others. And I had a friend in college who just seemed very like always at peace, and like he would like go through things, but he would be like very at peace about them. And I'd be like, and I asked him like, how do you stay so like calm through all the things that you deal with? And he's like, I meditate, you should try it. And I was like, meditate? I can't just sit there. Like, I'm not just gonna just like sit there in silence. Like, I couldn't. I felt like my mind was too loud. I had too many thoughts to freaking meditate until recently. It was like maybe like a year ago, I was like, I really need to silence my mind. Like, there's power in silencing your mind, because then you get to clear it. It's like clearing the cookies out of your laptop. Like, you get too many things. We see too many things. We live in a generation where we're just like always consuming information and things that are relevant to our journey and our life path. So doing meditation, at first I didn't know how, but then I went on YouTube and I was like, guided meditation, and I started like listening to them, and sometimes it'd be like 5 minutes and I'd be like, all right, I can't do this anymore. And the more I did it, the easier it got. So now I feel like I do it every morning, I do it every night, and I feel like that keeps me calm throughout the day, and it helps me start fresh, and it also fills me with like better, more positive feeling, because I'm not starting my day bringing in the stuff from yesterday. The meditation like clears you. So how did you get into that? How did you get into like meditating?
When I started eating right, I think that when I started eating right, I think the connection with the earth came, the universe came.
Yeah. Which, and Do we want to talk about like why you started eating better?
Yeah. I mean, I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, you got full-blown diabetes, skinny. That it doesn't matter, skinny, fat, you can still get it. And it's crazy because I watched this documentary called Heal that I was telling you about. So in one of the segments, they were saying people go to the doctor and they get diagnosed with, let's say, cancer. And the first thing they're in their mind is, I'm gonna die. So once that thought enters, I'm gonna die, it's there. And you feel helpless. You feel hopeless. You feel like there's nothing else out there but medical treatment and doctors to determine how long I'm gonna live and how long I'm not gonna live. And when I saw that part, and they got more into it and was like, you know, you should be thinking more positive, more like, I'm gonna beat this. This isn't me. Like, this is not gonna happen to me. I'm gonna walk out of here and I'm gonna get this right. And when I saw that part, I'm not even gonna lie, I cried. Because I related to that 100%. When I went to the doctor and the doctor said, you have full blood. This is when I was living in Passaic with Kate.
Was this like 4 years ago or 3 years ago?
Yeah, probably like 3
years ago.
Well, I was living with Kate and them.
Shout out to Kate, Box Garments.
Yeah, I went to the doctor and the doctor was like, you have full-blown diabetes. Here's some medicine. This will bring your numbers down. I looked at the joint, and then I said, cool, all right, bet. Right there, I was like, nah, not me. Like, not me. Like, this ain't happening to me. And I walked out of that doctor's office. I went home, and then I started looking at eating habits. And I told my boy, one of my best friends, and he was like, yo, watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. It might help you. Started watching it. I'm like, damn, yo, how you know about all this? He's like, because I'm vegan. I was like, why you ain't never say nothing? He was like, well, because when
it scares people away.
Yeah, when you tell people that, they either think they don't know what it is, or they think you're higher than them.
Right.
So I was like, damn, bro, you could have told me. Like, I'm your man.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, it's cool, whatever. So everything I had in the fridge that was bad for me, that day, I threw it out. I started out my veganism the next day, cold turkey. Never looked back. Never had a craving. Never had anything, because I was like, yo, if this is what's gonna fix me, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And the only time I would slip up is because I didn't read a label correctly, which now that shit does not happen because I know my shit.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
I've gone to health food stores and bought things that say something on the label, and then when I get home, I read it, and I'm like, oh, wait, all these bad ingredients are in there.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that you don't understand. Xthan, this, cyphomelamine, whatever. And by the time you get to the bottom, at the bottom, it'll say contains milk. But you don't read that because by the time your mind is warped from reading all this shit that you don't know.
Right.
So by the time you get to the bottom, you just look over that and you think like I had somebody DM me. It was like, yo, man, I slipped up. I'm like, how? He's like, cause I ate Oreos. I know Oreos are vegan. I'm like, well, first of all, if you vegan, you shouldn't be eating Oreos. Like, period. I was like, second of all, I was like, the regular Oreos are, but the remixed ones, like the coated ones with the chocolate, the little Oreo minis, those have, dairy in it. They have milk. And he was like, yeah, I didn't know. I was like, well, don't eat that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, they have true vegan snacks that you can eat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't chastise him because he just started his journey.
Yeah.
I just gave him a little on the butt, like, yo,
I think sharing knowledge
but
is like a blessing. I think
you're supposed to.
Yeah, I think what's the point of having the knowledge just for yourself? Like, I think that's like the ultimate form of love is when you share what you know with others. And I think sometimes other people do think that when you're telling them about your healthy lifestyle that you're like trying to shun their lifestyle, and it's like, no, I'm not. I just want to influence you. I just want to plant the seed, or maybe put it in your mind, because somebody did it for me at one point. So that's how you return the favor.
I mean, I'm all about giving forward and getting back. If I don't get it back, fine, I don't care, but I will tell everybody anything besides my social security number.
Right.
Whatever you ask me, people in my DMs all day asking me questions all day, and I'm answering all day. because I found my purpose. I was put on this earth to create and share. That's it.
Yeah.
I wasn't put on here to do anything else. I wasn't put here to do construction. I wasn't here to sell cars. Like, I'm here to create dope pieces, dope art, and share knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So when, like, I always try to help people that can't do anything for me. Because at the end of the day, me helping them, it's a blessing for them. They're like, oh my God. Like, I have people be like, yo, oh my God, I can't believe you answer. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if they help me back, fine. If not, whatever. Like, I'm cool with it. Like, I don't.
And I was talking about that a while back on my Instagram stories, because I go on these rants sometimes. I was saying that when you give from a place of just wanting to give and not wanting something in return, I feel like you will always get that back. Like, the universe will always have your back. Like,
hell yeah.
I'm the type of person that I have maybe given, one would say, too much. I don't feel that way, though. I feel that anytime that I give and I help others, I feel like, I mean, I've been helped. So my grandparents raised me, you know. I could have been in a foster home, which they always told me, and they really taught me to appreciate certain things and have gratitude in my heart. So I think that the gratitude for just people that I could never repay, because they've done so much for me that I felt that I didn't deserve, or they just did it out of the kindness of their heart. I feel like paying it forward is my way of showing of showing them and the universe, like, that I'm grateful. And then I think that that's what keeps us. That's what keeps, like, you sharing just a little bit of kindness with someone could literally, like, turn their life around.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
gratitude and graciousness, mindfulness, thoughtfulness, that's the key to success.
Yeah,
one of them. Like,
definitely.
I can tell you that. My mom told me a couple years ago, when you learn to stop being selfish, things will happen for you. And guess what? I stopped being selfish, and shit's happening.
Yeah, because I was looking at it like, I was thinking about the people who I used to. I don't feel resentment towards anyone anymore when they do things that, like, I feel like they weren't, you know, they didn't show me as much love or kindness. I feel that everybody has their own time where they reach that point where they become, like, better humans, or where they have more compassion or empathy, or, you know, really consider what they do to others. But when I look back at the people who have been very selfish and very me-based, I feel like they're always lacking. They're always looking for who can help them. They're always in need. And I feel like I'm very abundant because I'm always giving. And it comes back to me in different ways. And I think that's something that you can, if you look around at your circle and you look at the people who are just very generous, you'll notice that the basic things that they need to get by, they're not lacking those things.
Yeah.
You know, and you meet people who are selfish and that try to do messed up things to get ahead. It's always going to come back to them. They're always going to have to do messed up things to get ahead. It's like a vicious cycle. When gratitude and giving and generosity is more of like a love, like an abundance cycle is the way I look at it.
Abundance is key.
Yeah.
It's key. I meditated for that the other day.
So you, guided, I do like the guided meditations a lot, and I feel like they help me. Like, if at night, if I can't sleep, I'll do like guided sleeping meditation, and like in like 5 minutes I'll knock out.
Yeah, I'm off the training wheels now. I can go like 15 minutes silence.
Yeah. There's times I can do silence. It all depends on the mood, I guess, of the day or what's going on.
I only do it when needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if my mind is warped, I'm like, you know what? Let me just sit down in a room.
Clear the mind.
Chill.
Clear the energies.
Yeah, I only do it when it's needed. Like,
yeah. There's certain sounds, too. Like, I've been listening to a lot of, like, Deepak Chopra meditations, which you can easily find.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of, he talks about somebody, I met this guy, his name is Mike Renaissance, which hopefully one day he's going to be on the show one day. He does music, and he has a very interesting story too. And he sent me this Deepak Chopra, the 7 laws of spiritual success. And then Deepak gets really into like just these certain like guidelines on how you can have inner peace and how having peace within yourself will bring you success. I think that's something that will be really interesting for everyone to listen to. I think sometimes we listen to music And like I'll listen to reggaeton, and like it's very sexualized, and like certain hip hop, like certain things. Like I like all kinds of music. But I think sometimes you need a break from that. Like I think sometimes you just need something that is just like more nature. So when I listen to the meditation music, it has more sounds that come from nature. So I think living in the city where there's so much like traffic and angst and all this stuff, it really helps you unwind and like decompress from all that.
Well, they say, I forgot what I was listening, but they say, but the music you should listen to it at a certain decibel, because if you listen to it too loud, it fucks up your mental. Like,
yeah.
It fucks up the wiring in your brain. So you should listen to. I don't know what the exact number you should listen to it to, but they were saying like you should listen to music at a certain level.
Yeah.
Because if it's too loud, then it really like I just never understood how people blast the hell out of music, especially like trap music or whatever. Like it's too much. Like it's just like, oh my God, like literally I work in silence sometimes. When I'm doing shoes, I work in complete complete silence sometimes. I do not like listening to music. If I had a choice, sometimes I'll put it on, but for the most part, I'll put a movie on and turn it down. But I don't listen to music while I work because I feel like it's a distraction. Like it's just in the way, you know what I'm saying, of what I'm trying to like accomplish and what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I feel that. And so let's talk about the diabetes. So you reversed it, right? So you don't have it now?
No, it's gone. Yeah.
So like, because I know when you have, like, I know people who have it. I have family members, friends, family members, and they have to take like insulin, and it's very expensive.
Yeah, I wasn't. My dad went through that. I seen that every day.
I feel like somebody hearing like that it can be reversible. I feel like people won't even believe that, and I think it's just a matter of sometimes we only believe the things that we think we're capable of versus like, whoa, we don't think we're capable of.
No. This I'm gonna tell you, they believe the doctor.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, here's a figure in front of you saying you need to take this and you need to take that. It's gonna help it, right? So they're like, okay, he's a doctor, he knows. Nah, honestly, I don't want to offend no doctors out there, but the doctors don't know jack. Like, they don't know. It's a medical practice for a reason, because they're still practicing on what's what. How long has the earth been around?
Right.
Millions of years, right? And all this money people donate and they still haven't found a cure for cancer?
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me. I don't donate to no foundation. I don't care what it is. Like, I don't donate to no foundation, not because I don't care. It's because that money is really not going to that.
It's not going to the person suffering with the cancer. Yeah, like, it's not going to
when I was
specifically. I mean, maybe some of them do, like, as far as helping them with their needs and stuff like that. But the research itself, I do agree with you that it's been so long, and it's like, where is the cure?
The cure is food.
I mean, if we can come up with so many advances in science and so many breakthroughs, and we can come up with genetically modified food, and we can figure out how to recreate certain genes, how can we not come up with the cure to that? We
have the cure.
My grandfather, who passed away, my mother's father, he passed away from cancer. He had it like 3 times in his life, and he did beat it. He did get older, though. He was also vegan. But as he got older, I think it was just a matter of him being too old to really overcome it. But he did beat it 3 times. Also, like, the environment we grew up in, like, so a lot of people, like, from Puerto Rico, they had Vieques, which was an island that they used to do, like, nuclear bomb testing on. And I always think about that. I'm like, how does that affects the environment, and that affects people receive that through the air and through the atmosphere, and those cells get stuck in our body. And so doing things like detoxing and eating greens and eating raw foods and going back to the earth and not eating foods with like starch and like man-made materials, I think that helps keep our body optimal. I think that when I eat good, I feel good, my mind functions better. And it's just incredible that you were able to reverse that. And then, I mean, you're like healthy, you're full of energy, full of like great ideas. And I think it takes work. And I want to say to people, like, don't be afraid to put in the work for you so that you can live a healthy life, because I think health is the most important thing. You know, I used to when I used to deal with the anxiety and stuff, I had a doctor like recommend me like Xanax and Prozac and all this stuff. And when I was very afraid to try it, and when I tried it, I felt like it was not natural and it was not helping me. It was giving me more problems, making me tired, making me like too awake and stuff like that. And when I started just looking for natural cures, that was when I really was able to overcome it and getting to the root cause. Everything has a root cause. So like really reflecting and thinking about what is causing this within me and getting down to that is what's going to solve a majority of our problems, because we look for either a distraction or we look for to blame something or something to mask it. But I think it's all about getting down to the root.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, it's 100%. I mean, we have the cure. It's the food, basically.
Yeah,
like,
the food.
it's not rocket science.
What are some of the documentaries that you watch that helped you? How do you like? And you're constantly, you continuously learn.
Yeah, all the shit that's out. What the Health, Forks Over Knives, some couple fish documentaries, podcasts.
Yeah, it's a daily process too. Like nobody is gonna. I don't think that you have to be. I mean, you don't have to be. Like what I'm trying to say is like people are afraid to start because they don't know where to start. And I just think the more you look for information, even if you look for that information 5-10 minutes a day, over time you're going to absorb that and it's going to become your lifestyle. Like I was vegetarian for a year, and it was because I met this guy. He was like 60 years old. His name is Nigel, and he's a boxing teacher, and I was like the manager in a boxing gym. And he used to come in like at 11 a.m. and he would be there until like 9 p.m. and he would just train all day long. And I'm like, how do you do it? Like, and he was in such great shape, had so much positive energy, and I was just like, how do you do it? I literally told him one day, like, how do you do it? And it was his birthday. He was like, guess how old I am or whatever, and he said he was 60, and I was like, I thought that the guy was like 38, 40. Yeah. You know, and he basically,
people think I'm 24.
Yeah. So I don't know how old you are, but we're not
34.
So there you go.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought that this guy was like 20 years younger than he actually was, and I was like, how do you do it? And he was like, I'm vegetarian. And I was like, oh. And to me that sounded insane. Like, I'm like, how do you not eat meat? Like, I need chicken, I need everything. So
no, you don't.
Well, I was like, well, what the hell does he eat? So he basically explained to me that his mother influenced him because she suffered from arthritis and she used to have a lot of pain in her joints. And basically she discovered that if she stayed away from red meat and meat, that the arthritis would go away. So she did it. Her arthritis went away. She no longer felt pain. And that resonated with me because I, since a child, my legs used to hurt to the point where, like, it literally felt like somebody was running my legs over. Like, I would go to the emergency room. I would go to the doctors. They would do tests. And they'd be like, it's just growing pains. And I'm like, it can't be just growing pains. Like, then I'm, like, 17 years old. And I'm like, I've been the same height since I was 12. Like, it can't be growing pains. So when this guy told me that, I was like, okay. So I started looking into it, and I did it, and like I'm happy to say that my legs don't hurt anymore. Yeah. And like that was big to me because I used to wake up suffering and in pain, and that would just make me feel horrible. Like I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do things. I didn't want to like run and do certain things because I felt like it was going to cause me more pain and things like that. I couldn't sleep at night because of it. And just doing the vegetarian thing for a year, I felt great. I had more energy. I had a clearer mind. Definitely felt more positive.
So let me ask you this. If you felt that way, why did you go back to...
Why did I go back? I really honestly...
That's what I understand about people. Like,
well, this is where I was trying to go with this, is that I think it's hard. We reach points where it feels hard because, like, I was getting like colds and stuff, and I was getting like sick more often, and I think I wasn't doing it the right way. I think I didn't have enough knowledge on really how to lead a vegetarian lifestyle the right way. I was looking for I got to the point where I was consuming too much protein and the enzymes in my liver were too high, and I started getting really bad stomach aches. And I went to the doctor so many times. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And it was that I was doing the whole vegetarian thing wrong. I was overly consuming protein. So now my liver was freaking out. So my whole body was freaking out. And when it got to that point, I was scared. And I was like, chill, I'm going to eat chicken and shit. Like,
yeah, but that's that's like, people be like, oh, I need protein. You don't need that much protein.
Yeah, we live on this belief that we need protein. Yeah.
You don't. I think the human consumption for protein, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 9 grams a day or something like that. It's a low number, but people be like, protein.
Yeah,
like,
I started
if
following
you eat
like
too
all
much
these
protein,
workout pages and all these people, and they're like protein shakes and protein powder and
if you eat too much protein, you get, what happens? You get sick.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when I go get, like, say if I get like a smoothie and they be like, oh, it says vanilla protein, I like, take that out. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like, I eat beans today. I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need that much protein. People get so souped up over that. But, you know, like I said, if you really want to live right and be clear-minded and all that, like, you really gotta want it. I just don't think some people really want it. Like, they'll see a plate of wings and crack. Like, when I first started, people was around me with all that wings, pizza, whatever. I just turn the cheek and I was like, I'm gonna just eat this salad and I'm good. Like, people would put it in my nose, like, oh, you don't want any?
Like, and I want wings now. I'm sorry.
Like, people would put it in my face, like, oh, you don't want any? And those are the people that I got away from.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yo, I'm trying to do this, and you're trying to like be funny style and do that. Like, I don't need to be around you.
Yeah, like, if you don't support what I'm trying to do, I can't keep you around. I definitely agree with that.
I had a friend one day. He texted me in the morning some meme about a 103-year-old vegan that said he wish he would have ate meat because he feel like he's living too long. So
oh my God, that's horrible.
He texted me this right in the morning.
It's so dumb. Like, don't start my day with that.
He texted me 9 in the morning, and he's like, "What you think about this?" I'm like, "He should have ate meat if he feels that way."
Right.
He's like, "So why he ain't eat meat?" I said, "Bro, is this the first thing you think about when you wake up? Like, come on, man, you corny. Like, that was mad corny." And I'm just like, I don't need to talk to you. Like, I don't need to kick it with you. Yeah. Like, and I'm not even the vegan that's like in front of your house with a sign.
Yeah.
Like, I don't pressure anybody to do that. But if people come to me like complaining all the time about this, that, and the third, I want my diet, that, and that. Like, I have people come to me and they be like, oh, I'm trying, man. I'm gonna try. I'm like, well, I didn't even ask you.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna switch.
Yeah, because I think people see what I think, and I talk about this often, is like, people look at you as their reflection, and it's like, no, it's like, okay, they look at you and it makes you, when you do something that's extraordinary and rare, it makes them feel like, oh shit, like, am I slacking? Like, oh shit, I should be better. And it's like, be and own your own shit. Like, own who you are, and don't compare yourself to anybody else, and don't feel like you have to prove yourself or explain yourself to anybody else either. Like, do what feels right to you. Like, I stopped being vegetarian, and I didn't feel like I like disappointed the community of people that I had around me that were vegetarian. I just felt like this is what I had to do. So what I do is, like, I'll go days where I eat only greens and fruits, and then like I'll do 2 days of eating only greens and fruits, and then I'll have chicken, and then I'll have a day where I eat only greens and fruits, and then I'll have chicken. Or sometimes I'll do just greens a day or just fruits a day, and that's what works for me. Like, you also have to get to know your body. Everybody's body is different. Everybody can handle different things. Some people go vegetarian and they get really sick. They don't know what they're doing. Or so I think it's a matter of just looking for tools and using your resources to have the knowledge and understand it, and doing what works for you too. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I tell people that all the time. Do what works for you.
Do what works for you.
You want to eat steak? Go ahead. I don't care. Like, you're not.
But don't rub it in somebody's face who doesn't eat steak. Like, they don't care about that. Yeah,
somebody today was like, "Oh, you want some?" Because I was doing this party, and he's like, "Oh, you want some?" I was like, "Nah, I'm cool." And he's like, "Oh, I know this guy that just went vegan, and he's posting all this stuff, like shaming people.
They hate it. People hate it.
I'm like, I don't do that. Like, I don't do that. Like,
yeah, I don't think we should shame people for where they're at in their particular stage in life.
Yeah,
I think we should just try to help one another, and if somebody takes the help, fine. If they don't, fine. Like, you know, we all have our own unique journey here on this earth.
Yeah, do what works for you, man. Like, I'm not, whatever works for you works for you.
Yeah.
What works for me, I'm on this side with it. And I let people know this is what works for me.
Yeah.
You could try it out.
I mean, you're a living testimony, though.
Yeah.
You're a living testimony that, like, you don't need a doctor to cure you.
Nah, you don't, man.
You know?
The only time you should really take medicine is if, like, you got shot and you need a painkiller. Like, if you're sick with any type of disease or whatever, that's all food based. Like, you could clean that up with food.
Yeah, I've been watching.
You don't have to.
I've been like
take medicine.
Yeah, there's a lot of like actual testimonies and people who have like overcame like a lot of like really scary diseases and stuff like that.
Disease is habitual. It's not hereditary.
Yeah, and the whole Dr. Sebi thing has come to light more now because, you know, Nipsey was doing that documentary, but he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, he's been around. And it's more than him. You got Dr.
There's a lot of holistic doctors.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's Richard Morsi is another guy that preaches. I follow this other guy. I just got a vegan cookbook today. All alkaline foods.
Oh, that's awesome. See, and that's the thing is you need to have the tools and you need to constantly look for the information. Like you've been vegan now, like what, 3 years? 2 years?
Almost 3.
And you're still looking for information and you're still learning. So it's an everyday process.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
And it's not work to me anymore. It's my life. It's a lifestyle. And I've always said to myself, I want to live a lifestyle, and now I do. So that just shows you like the power of the mind. The mind is a machine.
Yeah.
You know, the mind is a machine. Like,
and you can choose it to work for you, or you can literally make your mind work against you.
You can think yourself into certain situations, and you can flourish certain situations just by thinking about it, and it's incredible, man. It's a beautiful
changing your perspective is really important. I want to read this. So there have been a couple things that have helped me throughout, like, going through hard times on just making sure that I keep my mind fresh so that I can do the things I want to do, like to do this talk show or share my poetry. Like sometimes we go through challenges and we can either let them make us or break us. And I think one of the things that helps me a lot is being grateful, even for the challenges, and being grateful even for like my mistakes or anything of that nature, because it's always a learning opportunity. You can literally always learn from every situation. You can also learn from every encounter with other people too. But I read this book, which I think is very helpful. Some people think it's weird. The Power, which is like one of the following books from The Secret, which is another book that I read that helped me a lot, by Rhonda Byrne. And I like to start my day feeling grateful and thinking about all the things I'm grateful for. I'm sure you probably do the same.
I mean, I do it throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like, even when I get home, I get home, thank you.
Yeah. Constantly being thankful, that helps. So every time, it says here, the key of gratitude, every time you feel grateful, you are giving love. Be grateful for everything you have received in your life past. Be grateful for everything you are receiving in your life present. Be grateful for what you want in your life as though you have received it in the future. So that's another thing, is like being grateful for what you want in the future, like feeling like you already have it. Like, for example, we can look at your work ethic and the way that you've become self-employed by literally having that belief that was meant for you, that's for you, and being grateful for that.
I mean, I had to put the work in too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Your gratitude will multiply everything in your life. Gratitude is the bridge from negative feelings to harnessing the force of love. To use the power of gratitude, practice it. When anything good happens to you in your day, give thanks. It doesn't matter how small it is, say thank you. The more you feel grateful, the more love you give, and the more love you give, the more you receive. Every spare second is an opportunity to be grateful and multiply the things you love. And I think people should read this book I think they got
audiobooks too.
Yeah, they have audiobooks. You could hear it while you're driving.
Yeah, I hate reading.
Yeah, and I think that stops a lot of us too. Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts, talk shows, things like that, where they reference to other knowledge and stuff like that, because we're on the go. So sometimes like you want to hear things while you're driving. So audiobooks definitely helps.
I can read, but I just hate it. I hate the process. Just sitting there reading something like that shit is annoying.
Yeah.
Quick funny story. I booked the Airbnb and I didn't read that the host would be there. So I get to the house. The host is like some old creepy lady, like creeping up the steps, and then when I turn around, she's like disappeared. She's not there anymore. It was just mad creepy, and I had to leave that same night.
I've heard so many horror stories like that.
I didn't read.
And I was looking for Airbnbs recently because
they're good though.
I want to go.
They're good, but when the host is not there.
Right. I've been looking at the reviews, and I feel like sometimes you can't even tell in the review if they're gonna be there or not. Like, it's very unclear sometimes. You're like, wait, are they there or are they not?
It could have said it,
I
but
think
I
they
didn't read
word it in a certain way, because I've read some and I'm like, I think this is one of those, because I remember you told me about that, and I was like, I think this is one of those situations, like the person is there but they're not specifically wording it in the thing.
I just saw the price and I was like, true, like I take it. And this lady was like, she freaked me out, man. I was like, I'm out of here.
I've heard a lot of stories.
I packed my
like
shit
that.
up. I left that night. I was like, I'm out of here. I got my money back though, but I just don't like reading. But I listen to the Secret audio.
Secret? Yeah,
no,
The
I'm
Secret's
lying.
good.
I watched the documentary on Netflix years ago. I watched it.
I read that book. When I read it, I loved it so much because I felt like it reprogrammed my mind to just look for the positive and everything.
At the time, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't get what I was watching. Now, I understand.
Yeah.
So there's no need for me to watch it again.
Yeah, and your subconscious, I think it brings certain things to you. So like let's say something bad happens to you and you dwell on it for too long, I think that it makes more of those same type of scenarios happen over and over again.
Of course.
I think the power of the mind is really, really force. And so like now the way I approach things is, if something happens that I'm not really feeling it, I'll accept it. I'll like reflect on it. I'll be like, okay, this happened, but then I let it go, and I'm not going back there to that. Like, I'm not going back to be constantly thinking about this and that. No, you have to literally train your mind every single day to think about what you want out of life and how you're going to get it.
I'm the type, like, let's say for instance, the other day I dropped my flash, broke it, and I needed it for a photo shoot 2 days later. I dropped the flash, I broke it. I didn't harp on it. I wasn't like, fuck, my life is over. What could happen next? Oh my God, am I gonna get in an accident now? I didn't think like, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If I could return it, I'll return it. But I gotta get another one. Like, I gotta move on.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And luckily they took the return back. But it's just like one of those things, like, if you always think when it rains it pours, then it's always gonna pour.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just the power of the mind. Like,
yeah, it's all about your perspective, the way you look at things. Like, I've learned to adapt that, like, nothing is happening to me, it's happening for me, and I have to make the best of every situation. Some situations are harder than others, but if you have your mind in the right place, you'll be strong enough to, like, get through them and do more better in life than to just be stuck on that. And I think a lot of us have those people around us who are like kind of negative, and I think just by being the example, we influence them just a little bit.
I think you know what plays a big part? Society, because there's so many standards that people want to live up to. Oh, if I don't have a nice car, I'm not gonna be fly. If I don't have the best outfit on Instagram, if I don't take a vacation, if I don't do this, if I don't buy a house, that's one of the biggest things that pisses me off. Is like, oh, the American dream is to get a house. Like, everybody don't want that. Like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, within the last year or so working for myself, my credit has been shot because I'm spinning, dipping. I'm trying to, like, do my thing. And I don't even stress over it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I'll fix it when I fix it. Like, I'm not trying to, like, be on some shit like, yo, I need a 750 score to get a house.
Like, for who?
To look like I'm doing it. No, I don't care. Yeah. Like, I do not care. Like, I do not stress over that. Credit card companies call me daily. Decline. You'll get it when I have it. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I just want
And
to
that
be
happens
free.
a lot too for entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
and
it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's gonna
you
happen.
go through times where you have to pick and choose like where you're putting your money so that you can invest into your future and what you're building. I mean, I have to get into this story because you made me your honesty sparked a bell in me, which is a few years ago I went to this event. It's called Puerto Rock Steady. It's in Puerto Rico. It's hosted by Crazy Legs, and at the time my friend Voodoo Ray, who passed away, may he rest in peace, very good guy, mentor to many people, he told me to go. And at that time, he knew that I was into poetry and into rap and things like that. And he was like, I think you would really like this event. So push come to shove, I went. I had like booked a room. The girls that were supposed to go with me, they bailed on me. I was like, Ray, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he like found this other girl who was going. The same situation happened to her. We roomed together. And I was like, I think at the time I was like 23 or 24. And, I met so many people who were like, Lorri, it's never easy at first. Like, you know, it took me years. It took me 2 decades to get to where I am now, you know? And I asked them, like, how did you get to the point where you made this a living? And they're like, I struggled through the hard times and I didn't give up. You know, so sometimes like you in your 20s or in your 30s, you're still building, and then your 40s and your 50s and your 60s is when you reap the benefits of all the sacrifices that you're making. So I think that to think that a dream is too big and to let it stop you from like trying to pursue it, I think that's a really depressing thing. Like if you have something that you feel is your calling, I think it's worth it to take the risk for it. And I think it's more fulfilling when you know that what you're doing and your sacrifices are for you and for something that makes you happy. Because we sacrifice going to like work for somebody else's dream all the time. Why not sacrifice for our own dream? You know, so
because they don't believe.
Right.
They don't believe it.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
They don't believe that they really can. I believed it. I was like, yo, I'm out. Like,
yeah,
shit's happening.
I'm grateful that I met so many people that told me their stories and like told me about their actual struggles and like how hard it was and how they didn't give up, and that consistency really is the key. And just seeing that just really like made me be like, yeah, I need to get more into like what I believe in. Because I mean, even when it comes to just starting a small business, I have a friend who she started her own business. Diana, she has the Shade Gang, the official Shade Gang, and she started small, and now, you know, she's doing good with it, and it's grown. They just had their 3-year anniversary the other day, and it just started as an idea, you know, and she just believed in it, and she just continuously kept going, and that girl has a lot of love in her heart, and that's the type of girl that gives and gives and gives. And I think that has a lot to do with the success. Is like when you give and you're a good person and you share and you're humble. I think that when you strive and you work for something, even if you think it's going to take long, but you're dedicated and you put the work in, it comes back to you for sure.
Well, you got to look at it like this. You're running a race. Don't worry about how long the race is going to take. Mm-hmm. Just finish it.
Yeah, the time is going to pass anyway.
Or last.
Yeah.
You see people that run marathons, and they're running and they're running. In the beginning, and then at the end, they're like, and then they just stumble across the finish line. That's what life is. Like, you're going to run this race. Don't worry about, like, damn, 15 miles It's just like being at work and you clock watching. I get off at 4, and you just watch the clock, and you're watching the clock. 10 minutes go by, but it's really 3 minutes. Right. You're like, shit. Don't worry about that. Just work. And then you notice when you start working and moving, and when you look up, oh, damn, I done stayed an extra 5 minutes. Like, that's what it is. That's what entrepreneurship is. Yeah. That's what believing in yourself is. Like, yo.
Like, really getting involved in
like,
it.
I don't care when this will be done. Like, I learned that from doing sneakers. Because in the beginning, I was like, I have to finish this by this time. Boom, 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 boom. And then I was like, yo, let me slow down. So the fact that I slow down, I work faster. So now it's more like,
because you make less mistakes probably too.
Less
when
mistakes.
You're more patient.
Yeah, less mistakes, and I'm thinking things out more. Yeah. And it's more like, all right, 5 o'clock, I'm putting it down. I'm done. Like, I don't want to overexert myself because I used to do that, trying to rush, and I would fuck up, and then I'm like, damn, so now it takes me longer. But if I take my time and then, like, say 5, or I just feel like I need to rest, I need to go, put it down, I'll get back at it tomorrow. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You can
like,
do it the right way.
Yeah, it's not
with
giving
the right
up.
energy.
Yeah, it's not giving up. It's just taking a step back to see what I have in front of me and being able to attack that. And I think we all in life need to do that. Like, some things could be right. Like, I can't see the detail in this mic because I'm too close. But if I come back, I'm like, oh, all right, cool. This is that. All right, now I'm good. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that. Like, that's what life
taking
is.
a step back, looking at the bigger picture, and then reevaluating like how to tackle that in a thought out process. Not just being like, I need to do this to prove it to everybody, and I need to take pictures, and I need to. No, it's like literally like sitting back, being patient with yourself, going through the process, learning from your mistakes, and trying better again the next day.
Yeah.
And not exhausting yourself because you set up these like timelines of like, this, I need to reach this point at this time, because sometimes you still need to learn certain things before you can reach that point.
Yeah, and follow the signs. Life throws you signs.
Yeah,
like,
there's definitely
throws you signs. Like, the signs that I would get when I would customize sneakers or anything. Like, I would customize a shoe, right? And I would knock over a paint. I'd be like, all right, whatever, pick it up. Then I would like drop the shoe, and I'm like, damn. Those are signs that says, put the shit down and go home.
Yeah.
That's a sign that lets you know, like, yo, shit too hectic right now. Put it down, go home. Even when I'm doing photography, like, if I'm snapping pictures and my battery dies, I'm like, fuck it. Boom, new battery. Then my flash battery dies. Damn, new battery. Oh, shit, it just got too cloudy. Now it's like, all right, this ain't the day.
Yeah.
This ain't the day for it. You know what I'm saying? Don't force it. Like, life always shows you signs. It's just like driving on a highway. Go here for this, go here for that. Like, I don't understand how people are bad with directions.
I suck at directions.
I don't
tell you right
understand
now.
that because like the signs are right in front of you.
Yeah,
like,
and I think also I rely on the GPS too much, and I don't know where I'm going geographically. Like, I'm not good. Like, I drive to New York a lot for the poetry stuff, and I get lost, man, because the sign says one thing, the GPS says another thing, and I'm like, where the hell am I going? So like, somebody who's good with maps and geography and like, you know, knows the breakdown of everything, cool, good, great. But me, I'm not good with directions. I'm that person.
I used to, when I was young, I used to just drive around, take joyrides, drive, and I always found that 7 times out of 10, by mistake or like just doing something else, I would end up exactly where I used to drive around at.
Yeah.
Like, I would drive places.
So you have practice driving around and shit.
No, I just did it. I just did it for the simple fact that I just wanted to know. Like, I just needed to know.
Expert navigator.
Yeah,
over
like
here.
what's where. You know what I'm saying? So then when I do get back to that area, I'm familiar with it.
Right.
So now I'm like, all right, I know how to move.
Yeah, I definitely think that me relying on the GPS makes me need it more and more and more every day.
Yeah, like,
my sense of direction is off because I'm relying on a computerized device to tell me where to go.
Yeah, like,
when back in the day, people used to just literally figure it out. Like, okay, this is where it is. This is where you look at the map, whatever the case may be. But the thing about signs too is like that. The fact that you mentioned that is like the day that I came here to do the appointment to just check the place out and meet with Marvin, who owns Bravery Studios. And I know I have a lot of people who are interested in having their own podcast. Definitely reach out to Marvin. That's also going to be in the information. But the day that I was going to come here, so I have this wooden carving because like my friend Ray was like a mentor to me. He like told me how to spit my poetry, and like he was the one who's like, Lorri, like you're different, like what you do is different, like you should share it. He told me about his friends who've done poetry that are like international poets, and like that really made me believe, because I came from a background where people like didn't believe in that and like that type of shit. Like they'd be like, what, you want to be a poet? What the hell is that about, you know? So I have this like wooden painting that I went on my birthday to his party, Funk Box in New York, that he's been promoting for 10 years. They play like soul house and stuff there. It's like one of the vibes that I enjoy the most, because it's like there's different sounds and dancers and things like that. And I bought this painting that was a wooden carving of his, And he's like smiling and going like this, like pointing the finger in it. And I put it in my room on my dresser, and I put like some candles, some books, and some more candles. Like, it was very sturdy. It's been there since February. Nothing has ever moved from that shelf. And right before I left, like right before I was about to walk out of my room to come here, that day that I was meeting with Marvin, everything from that dresser fell. Like, I didn't even understand how. Literally everything just fell. Like, the candles, the books, everything. Like, nothing had moved. I was still like, I was literally in front of the mirror, and the dresser's right here, and I hadn't even moved yet. So there was no movement, and everything fell. And I was like, I just laughed because I felt like it was a sign, like him telling me, like, yeah, you go do that, you know. And I feel like there's just little signs in life that tell you, like, when something is for you, when something is not for you. I pay attention to those signs, and I think that's what helps me navigate through, like, okay, this is for me, this is not for me, and just things like that. I thought that was funny that you shared that story.
Yeah, signs are big.
Yeah, but I want to thank you for coming onto the show. We've come to the end. You were right, Marvin. Time does go by faster when you have a guest. I feel like we covered a lot of I feel like we covered a lot of good topics. I'm gonna do a write-up. I'm gonna put some links. I'm gonna definitely put Malcolm's information there too, so that if you want to get like a customized sneaker, you can. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for the next episode. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace. Eat meat.